Hey, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. I'm your host today, Brooke, and today we're going to be diving into the Libra Full Moon Lunation update. So, how are you all doing? Listen, listen, Linda. It is 23:03. Okay. I was going to go to bed. I wasn't going to do it. I was like, no, 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 I'll do it after I get home for my market because my market ends at 4. And then I got to pack up. So I'd hit the road around 5, get home around 6:30. I'd have time. And then I said, get up, do it just in case something happens and you don't get it done. Get up and do it. So it's 23:03 and I got to be up at 6:30. So let's do this, okay? So y'all can have it early in the morning because I was really thinking about some things and there's been a lot that's been coming in for me. And I want to dive into this, okay? The sun and Chiron are conjunct as of right now at 22 degrees, okay? And they are going to remain conjunct at 22 degrees until the sun moves to 23 degrees. And this will be at 12:13 p.m. Eastern time zone, okay? So there's been some things that have been coming in for me, and this is more on a global scale, and I'll dive into that as we're going over the charts. But one of the biggest things that's been coming in for me is the weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, and a specific person setting our leaders up to fight a war that we had no business being in. Okay. So, because of that critical degree, and because of him being a Libra, BB is who I'm talking about. He is a Libra. Okay. He's a double Libra. He's a double Libra. Um, I don't even know how to spell his name. I was going to look up his chart. But he's a double Libra. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, it's 10th house. Just going based on my memory with what I've looked up. Okay. And in the last couple of days, there's been some things coming into me specifically in regards to Iraq and the weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, because he was a big force behind all of that. And so, one of the biggest things that's been coming in for me is what happened to get us involved. And that's 9/11. And you all know how I feel about collective manifestations and bringing those manifestations into this reality. Because a lot of what I do is counter that and being that little delulu of, okay, well, they're trying to manifest this outcome. So let's work opposing that and let's manifest for the light. So, it's been really heavy on me because of where, the sun is conjunct Chiron right now and will stay conjunct at that 22 degrees until 12 o'clock. Like we still got another 12 hours, okay, of this conjunction. And then at 12:13 Eastern time zone, the sun's going to move to 23 degrees. And then at 3:31, Chiron's going to move to 23 degrees. So they're going to be together. And this kind of takes me back to that Aries eclipse that was conjunct Chiron. You know, there's going to be a lot of wounds that's coming up to the surface. There's going to be a lot of painful things that are going to be coming up to the surface, specifically with the wounded warrior, the wounded masculine. Okay. We could even experience some wounds ourselves. So, like, that's a big reason why I didn't want to get up and go to my market tomorrow because I knew, like, starting the day off, that it was going to be a pretty intense day because of that sun being conjunct Chiron at 22 degrees. All right. So, this has been really heavy on my mind, and I'm not trying to do my whole full moon lunation update about that. However, over the next 2 weeks, because in this full moon lunation update, this is when we're going to see Mars oppose Pluto again. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit later, but I want to talk about the energy of the full moon and how to work on it, how to work with it. Okay. But before I dive into that, I do feel they're going to have a repeat of 9/11, and this possibly could be the 2 week time period of us seeing that. Now, I pray more than anything in this world that I am wrong. But it has been so heavy on me that even my spirit team was like, yeah, no, these things have to be said, Brooke. You have to prepare people. You have to get people ready because we're going to have that Pluto and Mars opposition. And it's going to be, towards the end of the full moon lunation cycle. Thank God it's going to be towards the end and it's not going to be at the beginning, so that the moon's then going to be in the process of changing that phase of planting the seeds and going dark and being hidden. Okay. So let's dive into the chart. I'm going to share my screen. Maybe have some Mercury retrograde issues taking place for sure. Well, I shouldn't say that because Mercury's out of retrograde. However, here I did all my notes. I did all my notes, and did not write down when Venus was going to station. I wrote down everything and it's 11/11, y'all. I wrote down everything that I needed to make sure that I remembered, and I forgot Venus stationing. So let's figure this out real quick. Okay, so boom, got it. Okay, so this full moon, you want to check your time zone, okay, where I am currently located. It's going to be taking place at 8:21 p.m. Eastern time zone. Now, I'll run my chart for Johnson City. So you want to make sure that you check your location to see where it's going to be happening for you. Okay. And this is going to be after the sun at 12:13 on the 12th. At 12:13, the sun's going to move at 23 degrees. And then at 3:31, Chiron's going to move to 23 degrees. So I do feel that we're going to have a lot of that wounded warrior coming up, with my Aries eclipse reading, I did tell you that the wounded warrior was going to be put on blast, and I was very matter of fact. I didn't sugarcoat a lot of things. I was very straightforward. I told you all how I felt, what was going to be coming, all that. Okay. So the sun and the moon are going to be opposing each other for this full moon. The sun's going to be conjunct Chiron. And Libra is all about being balanced. It's about justice. It's about the finer things, the Venetian things. It's about balanced, harmonious relationships. And it is also about divine justice, literally divine justice. And so, with this Libra full moon, you're going to want to really make sure, am I showing up in my best self? Am I really putting my best self forward as far as relationships concerned? Or am I very selfish? Am I only thinking about myself? Am I really taking others' opinions, thoughts, feelings in consideration, or am I only focused on my own? Having the sun conjunct Chiron is really, and they're going to be in a trine with Mars. Nope, they're going to be in a square with Mars. Not exact, okay, but still working into that square. So it could feel like emotions are extremely high. Okay, I've been feeling that a lot. And I know it is because of this Mars and Cancer energy, but also the sun being conjunct Chiron. Like a lot of wounds are coming up to the surface. There could be a lot of accidents. There could also be injuries to the head. So be mindful of those things. Car accidents, explosions, okay, because of this square that we have going on. And then I want you to know that later on in this lunation cycle, we're going to have a T square with the sun, Pluto, and Mars. So there's a lot of anger in the air. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of wounds. There's a lot of hurt, okay? But there's also a lot of opportunity for you to actually be able to overcome these things. Just remember, this is not something that you have to live with. This is an opportunity to see it for what it is and to change the behavior, change the cycle, change the pattern in how you show up. When you look at it more from a standpoint of we instead of me, okay, because that's that whole Libra Aries axis, right? Libra is we, it's us, it's everybody, it's the relationships, it's how the relationships work and flow well together. Aries is all about myself, me, right? Because Aries represents I have. So, are you showing up balanced in your relationships? Are you showing up with your best foot forward? Or are you giving in to this lower vibrational Martin energy? Now, the best way to work with this energy is truly pausing. Okay, pausing before you allow for your emotions to get too high. Now, I also want to note that Mars is in a trine with the North Node. So there's going to be fated things that happen, and also in a sextile with the South Node. So there's going to be fated things that are taking place because the nodes of fate are activated. Mercury has now crossed over the nodes and is getting ready for his conversation with Neptune, which is at 0 degrees of Aries. Now, I am so thankful for Mercury to get out of Neptune or get out of Pisces, because then I feel like we're actually going to be able to see, we're going to be able to hear, we're going to be able to comprehend, we're going to be able to know what's truly taking place and what's truly going on. I feel like right now with all this in Pisces, this whole stellium in Pisces, even with Mercury there, it's like trying to see through goggles that are filling up with water, and you can kind of see in there, but you can't really see because of all that water. Everything's just really, really, really distorted. And we're also seeing people better as they really are, right? We're seeing things with rose-colored glasses and maybe overlooking things that we probably shouldn't be overlooking. So I am very thankful that Mercury has now stationed and is going to be moving into Aries, because as soon as Mercury moves into Aries and conjuncts Neptune, which this is going to be taking place on 4/16. So just 4 days after this Libra full moon, we're going to see what's truly been going on behind the curtain. We're going to hear what's truly been going on behind the curtain. We're going to know what's truly been going on behind the curtain, because Neptune rules the media. It is also behind the curtain. So with Mercury being able to conjunct Neptune, we're going to be able to see that. We're going to know that. We're going to hear about that. Okay. And with this begin the Libra full moon, I want you guys to remember, okay, we got to go back 6 months ago, right? We're seeing the seeds from Libra season showing up. Okay, these are the seeds that were planted with the Libra new moon. And we also had an eclipse then. Okay, and it was a solar eclipse that took place at 10 degrees of Libra, and that was on 10 too. Like that eclipse rocked my world, because that was the start of the Pisces eclipses. And I was looking at the eclipses moving into the next 2 to 3 years, and I was like, and that was just the first one, because these are going to be exactly conjunct a lot of my personal planets. And so all of this really started for me on 10/14 at 21 degrees Libra, because that is where my Saturn is located. So, and Saturn was at 21 degrees of Pisces when this took place. So for me, there's a lot of, karmic energy that's being cleared out. And the eclipses, that's exactly what they do. They clip things out, they move you, they redirect you, and they get you back on the path that you're meant to be on. And so I kind of wish I hadn't have looked forward, but then again, it's coming regardless. So might as well embrace it, right? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst is always my attitude. So this full moon is also going to be trining Jupiter. So we're still going to be hearing a lot through the news, the media. Keep in mind, last Aries season, so we go back 1 year ago when we had that Aries eclipse that started all this. Okay, we had Jupiter and White Moon Selena together, and as you can see, White Moon Selena has been holding it down in Cancer and really trying to be that feminine energy with that Martin energy of not allowing our emotions to become too high. Okay, crimes of passion, things like that. So Jupiter is going to be in great harmonious communication with this moon. So there's going to be a lot of insight. There's going to be a lot of updates. And it is going to kind of feel like updates, especially with our mind, with our communication, with how we do things. Like, is this truly an acceptable way to be able to move forward for humanity? A year ago, we were on the brink of extinction. We are still dabbling on that brink when people talk about nuclear war, nuclear fallout. And, nuclear fallout can happen and has been happening um, around the United States for the last 3 years. When you look at all the different nuclear plants that have fires, we don't actually have to have war for this to happen. And I don't know why I'm needing to talk about this. Maybe because these are things that, you know, we've got to start thinking about. We've got to start talking about, especially as a collective, as a whole. This is going to have to be in the forefront of what's being changed within our justice systems, but also within our relationships with humanity. You know, one of the biggest things for me is we all answer to the same Most High, regardless of what religion. Okay, we're cleaning up this religious aspect with all this stuff in Pisces. Okay, that's the reason why all of the religious texts are playing out at the exact same time. That is the reason why, you know, it feels like the world is ending, but it's not going to end. So hold on. Okay, Saturn and Venus are going to be getting ready for their next conjunction. At this point, Venus is going to be turning back on. So, as I mentioned, this full moon is going to be April 12th at 8:21. Oh, it's 23:23. It's going to be at 8:21 Eastern Time Zone. And then at 21:03 Eastern Time Zone, Venus will station direct. Okay. And then we are going to have all planets direct for the next 2 to 3 weeks. The next planet that's going to be stationing is going to be Pluto. And that's going to happen on the 4th of May. So if you're not where you're supposed to be, get ready. The towers will follow as soon as Pluto stations. And Pluto's already, you know, starting to slow down, not really moving whatsoever. All right. Now, at 21:03, 9:03 Eastern Time Zone, Venus will station direct. Okay. And then on 4/16/25, Mercury's going to ingress at 0 degrees of Aries, and we'll have that communication with Neptune. I do feel, honestly and truly, we're going to hear a lot over the next few days. Really starting with this full moon. Okay, and I mentioned this, but I completely didn't even dive into it. So let's backtrack just a little bit. So you all know we started the 5-9 degree new moons Scorpio season. So Scorpio season, Sag season, Capricorn season, Aquarius season, Pisces season. Okay. And we are in a 9 year. So the seeds that were planted, the things that were taking place, the people that were being put into place, as we get closer to those full moons, we're going to start seeing what they're here to do. Okay. And my guide specifically wanted me to bring that up because it starts fitting with the time frame of when a lot of these things are going to be brought to light. And specifically RFK giving a time frame of when they were going to have answers about what was going on with the vaccines and the autism rates. And if you look at that time frame, that's going to be close to Virgo season, which would be in Pisces season. And that's close to, you know, about the time that he got sworn in and so started his journey. So I know everybody just took office. A lot of them just took office really in the last 2 months. So we've got to be patient. We've got to give them some time to actually be able to do what they need to do. I know we all want it done on day one, but we got to be realistic about those things. You know, we do have to give them just a little bit of time. Now on 4/17, So just the day after Mercury ingresses into Aries, and as soon as that's going to happen, I feel like we're going to hear even more of the documents released because we've already had the RFK. We've already had some of the documents, not all of them, but some of them released. We could even hear things about Hitler because that's really been brought up to the surface a lot as well. But on 417, the nodes are going to conjunct Saturn at 26 degrees. So Saturn's going to move to 26 degrees. The nodes are going to move back to 26 degrees and they're going to be conjunct. So there's going to be a lot that's been hidden, specifically within the media. I mean, with the JFK files, RFK files, we learned that NBC had video evidence of the shooter not actually being the shooter, and they've sit on it for 60 years. Like, these are some of the things that I feel as Mercury moves to 0 degrees Aries and the North Node conjunct Saturn in Pisces. These are some things that we're going to be hearing about. On 418, Mars is going to ingress to that 0 degree point of Leo. Oh, get ready. Now, let's go back to New Year's. And I'm going to say from the 18th, okay, when Mars moves to 0 degrees of Leo on the 18th, all the way through let's see, from the 18th until I'm going to say at least the end of the month, the 29th, even really May 1st. May 1st, we'll start feeling the ease up of that energy for a good 2 weeks. Okay, we're going to have that Mars opposing Pluto. So on the 24th, the 25th, depending on where you're located in the world, will be when that peaks, when it is exact. So really 24th, 25th, 26th. Now on 422, Venus, Saturn, the North Node are going to conjunct at 26 degrees. This is going to be a very, very intense and very powerful day. Now, granted, I know we're going to be in the Libra Full Moon Lunation cycle. However, this would be a great time to really focus on your dreams, the things that you're wanting to create, see what is wanting to leave, what is trying to leave as far as your money, as far as relationships, as far as your karma, as far as the things that you're trying to do for work, whatever's trying to go, let the fucking shit go. And really take a step back and focus on your dreams and focus on the things that you're wanting to really trying to create, okay? What visions have you always had? What dreams have you always had? What are the things that you've always wanted to do? And focus on them. Spend some time manifesting. This is going to be a pretty powerful day for that. Even if you are in the full moon cycle, it's going to be a Tuesday. It's going to be a Mars day, and Mars is direct. So keep that in mind. On 423 is when we're going to have this fixed T-square. So we're going to have the Sun and Pluto and Mars all squaring each other. And we're going to feel that energy for, it's going to be exact on the 23rd, but we'll feel it for about a day before, a day or two after. Okay. And this is leading right into that Pluto opposing Mars. And this opposition is going to be taking place at 3 degrees right before Pluto retrogrades. So, 25th, 26th, that weekend is not a weekend that I would be out anywhere. I would avoid any large gatherings. You do not want to be out and there be a BOMB go off. You do not want to be out and there be mass shootings. You do not want to be out and be caught in a war situation. Okay. The next 2 weeks are going to be the weeks that you're going to need to listen to your gut. I also feel that over the next 2 weeks, this just started. And what's crazy is I have to keep up with my wandering thoughts, and I'm human and I just forget. I forget sometimes that that's how my intuition works, that when I start wondering about things, that it's because it's coming. But anyway, I was like, well, odd. We've not had any plane crashes. Wonder what's going on with that. I wonder, if whatever was causing them was fixed. And we just recently had a helicopter crash. I feel as we get closer to this Pluto and Mars opposition, we could see an upkick in this because of that opposition. I mean, I'm telling you guys, on the 18th, when Mars ingresses into 0 degrees of Leo, for that 2 weeks, we're going to feel it from the 18th up until the 1st, and that's almost exactly 2 weeks to the day. 14 days, okay? And I'm not trying to push fear. Really, really, really not. I just want you guys to be prepared. My biggest concern is that BB is going to try to pull another 9/11. That is my concern. And that's the only reason why I got up to make this video. Got myself out of bed and was like, no, Brooke, you need to make it because it's that heavy on me. And I want to be wrong about this. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I truly do. Because the last thing that we need to be doing is going to war over false things. The last thing that we need to be doing is going to war, period. And I was thinking about something else that I really want to share. And I mean, this is nice as I could possibly say it. I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say it. I'm really, really not. But if your God is okay with the elimination of women and children, I'm going to have to do a gut check before I fully surrender to that God. And if your God is okay with, I guess we're supposed to call it graping now because we can't say what it's actually called. Women, boys, just because children, men, whatever, I'm going to have to question the God that you serve. And these are things that are very well known and have been documented that have been approved by governments that are wanting us to go fight their wars. Yeah. So, on a positive note, the sun is going to enter Taurus on the 19th. So, we're going to have a little bit of a break on a soul level when it comes to all of this Martin energy, but we're going to have a lot of fire, a lot of Martin energy, a lot of egos, a lot of people. Me, I, my way, my way, my way, my way. I know I feel it. I feel it. And I have to cleanse. I have to pause. I have to take a step back. It is constant work for me because when I let my guard down, it's easy to become the energy that is around. Okay. It is easy to become the energy that is above us, especially when you're water and all you do is absorb. It's easy to become them. So I really like deep breaths, walk, ground, breathe. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And the more that you can do that, the easier it's going to be. But there's going to be a lot that's brought up to the surface with this full moon. Within our relationships, on a personal level, on a collective level, there's going to be a lot. Really. We still have Uranus trining the South Node. So this is where, you know, facts, things, situations can come in and change abruptly. Okay. There's going to be a lot of revisiting the past. Have we really got the facts right? Is this really good? What else do we need to do? What else do we need to work on? Mm-hmm. This could also be, the mad scientist. Has the mad scientist truly been the best benefit for humanity? And the mad scientist can be as far as this, as far as the weather is concerned, as far as our food is concerned. Like, has the mad scientist truly been the best option for humanity? Or are we better and do we thrive better when we go back to our natural state? There's going to be a lot of reevaluating, especially, and we're going to see a lot of this taking place as that trine becomes even more exact because, Uranus is going to be moving to that 26 degrees and being exactly conjunct Algol. So we're going to be very aware of those things. And just keep in mind the last time that Uranus was conjunct Algol was when Trump had his attempt. Okay. All right. So this is going to feel like a purge. It's going to look like the world's ending, but I promise you it's not going to end. That's not God's plan. It's going to look like it though. It's going to feel like it. It's going to feel intense. It's going to feel scary. And the best way through this is to pull your energy back to you and focus on the things that you can focus on. That's why I've been trying to stay so busy, honestly, truly, working crazy hours. When I'm not working, uploading content. When I'm not uploading content, I am making jewelry. When I'm not making jewelry, I'm taking photos. I'm trying to get it posted to my website. I'm trying to stay as busy as I possibly can because you know what they say, idle hands is the devil's playground. So, you keep your hands busy, you keep your mind busy. So if you find yourself stressed and worried, okay, spend some time going within, find something to do so you're not setting idle. Like you don't feel like a setting duck, as my kids would call it. You know? So let's see. The Queen of Swords and the King of Swords come into play. So, oh, what cards do we need? King of Cups, keep an eye on your emotions, stay grounded in your emotions, try not to let, yeah, and have grounded communication and, positive emotional communication specifically about the things that you're wanting to do, the things that you're wanting to bring in. Just remember, um, I do feel there's going to be some sneaky shit that's brought to light, okay? Specifically connected to the wounded masculine. Mhm. It might feel painful. There's the Tower. Yeah, it might feel painful. Try to stay grounded in your emotions, but this has to happen. Okay, this has to happen in order for happiness. I love this. Okay, so this is what I got. Stay grounded in your communication and not to lose your shit on everybody, okay? Have grounded communication specifically about the things that you're trying to create, okay? That you're trying to move forward, things like you. There is going to be some things that are brought to light as far as the wounds that may not have been good. I'm hoping instead of, there being another 9/11 situation, that maybe the documents are dropped about 9/11. I'm really hoping that we don't have another sneaky situation as far as the warrior, aka, trying to get us into war. I do feel that that's what's going on behind the scenes, though. Um, I do feel that there's going to be towers. There's going to be towers that are going to be taking place. And just remember, I got very dominant. There's no feminine energy here whatsoever. I have the King of Cups, the King of Wands, and the Emperor. So there's a lot of fire. A lot of fire. Okay, and there's a lot of water. What's underneath the Six of Cups with the three? Oh, there's the Queen. Okay. Okay, so this, I do feel, okay, there's going to be towers. These towers have to take place in order for the people that are meant to come together, okay? Um, This almost feels like there's too many chiefs or not enough Indians. You know what I mean? Like too many people are trying to be in charge, wanting to take charge, wanting to move forward. I do feel that there's going to be a lot that's brought to light, but this is the thing. We've we've got whatever in the past that's needing to go, whatever towers are taking place. We got to let that shit go. Stop looking to the past, okay? We want to look to the future. And I love that the Queen of Wands shows up underneath the deck with, past, could even be past life soulmate coming back around, looking to the future. Let's move. Okay, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be victory. The Wheel of Fortune. This is fated. This is destined to happen. I do feel it's going to be abundant. It may not look abundant. It may look scary, but just remember, towers only happen when it's not aligned. So when you can be okay with the tower, you see the tower as a blessing, it becomes so much easier. Okay, so you're like, poop, okay, that wasn't it. Yay. And then all of a sudden, boop, here you go. It skips. But it's going to be the key in moving forward, specifically with this Libra full moon, is going to be staying grounded in your emotions, specifically with your communication. Try not to lose it. All right. I love you all. I will be having my Libra full moon healing circle at 8 p.m. Eastern time zone. You'll find the link to join in the events tab. I would love to have you there. Would love to have you join us. So yeah, I love you all. Happy Libra full moon. What you think about my earrings? This is my lemon jade. I love my lemon jade. It connects your solar plexus with your heart chakra and allows for you to be in a more divine, feminine, creativity, energetic space. So when you are in that flow state and you're able to create from that true, defined feminine essence, it's easier to handle this Martin energy. So, you want some? Let me know. I got all kinds of different designs, and it was a huge, huge, huge hit last summer. Everybody loved it. Loved the color. Nobody had ever heard of lemon jade. So, anyway, I got all kinds. Let me know. I love you all, and we'll talk soon. I'll be back in 2 weeks for another new moon lunation update. And it's going to be the Taurus new moon, and it's going to be the 27th, I believe. 27th, it's going to be the new moon. It's going to be on a Sunday. So, anyway, I'll be back then. Love you all. Bye.